Hey, what's up? It's Peter Voogd here, and welcome back to the YEL 2.0 podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Thank you so much for being a loyal subscriber. If you're listening while you're driving or on the way home or something, I appreciate you. We're going to continue our series of the 6 months to six figures breakdown, where I break down my book, how to go from dead broke and frustrated to a six-figure income. And if you're already making six figures, I know we have some heavy hitters listening and watching, how to have the best 6 months you've ever had. We are on now chapter 2, and this chapter is titled Mastery versus Overload. And I'll tell you, this was a major part of me going from broke to six figures and then from six to seven figures. And it's something that's controversial. It's something that other gurus and people in my space have actually got mad at me for talking about. Obviously, when I started to figure myself out and stop fearing other people's opinions, I started not caring what people thought because I felt like what I was doing was right. What I was talking about worked for me, so I'm going to share this. So this is a philosophy that it took me obviously a lot of failure and frustration and wasted time, money, and energy to figure this out, but I don't want you guys to go through the same struggles. So right now, there's more content online than ever before. Like, the amount of information online is staggering just compared to 5 years ago. And the problem is it's creating massive overwhelm and frustration. And when you're overwhelmed, you naturally and subconsciously seek distractions. So instead of me, when I started taking advice from people about success, the number one thing people said was work harder, which of course that's false. Yes, you want to work hard, but it's not about working harder or smarter. It's about working right. Remember, there's 4,000 ways to get to an end result, but there's one optimal way, I realize, based on your personality, your values, your core unique ability. So the second thing society told me was just study, read everything you can, watch every video. And at the beginning, I said, that's great advice. I'm going to go study. I literally was watching all the YouTube videos. I ordered a bunch of books on Amazon. I read everything, and I was more overwhelmed. And actually, it hurt my confidence even more because now I'm still failing. Now I'm still not getting results. I'm now still working 70, 80 hours a week, but now I have knowledge, and I'm not getting results. So when you have knowledge and you study, and you think you're getting the answer, but you're still not getting results, that does something to your psychology. So I was super frustrated. I'm like, am I a failure? And you can't help but point blame at yourself. I didn't think it was other people's fault for telling me to study everything. But the reality was, it was my fault because I didn't realize the importance of mastery. Mastery is the highest form of accomplishment and highest form of performance and success. The only way to become successful is master what's most relevant and most congruent to your end results. And most people have so much information. They read the books, they go to conferences, seminars, they watch all the free online videos, they listen to every podcast, but they aren't intentional, so they get overwhelmed and they become paralyzed. Here's what's happening right now. It's called the grass is greener mentality, and I really break this down in this chapter. And like I said, the whole purpose of this is to give you guys clarity, answer any questions you have regarding this book, because I realize the power of the tactics in this book for you guys. It's been promoted by Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes, Huffington Post, and like I said, and I don't say that to brag, I say that to just impress upon you that it really works. And that's why I came up with this series and wanted to break every single chapter down of not just give you things to do, but take you behind the scenes and help you realize why I wrote this chapter. So here's the grass is greener. People think that personal growth is the answer and information is the answer. First of all, if information was the answer to your problems, everyone would be billionaires. Because there's enough information in the world to have everyone have a lot of information. But here's the reality. A, it's about the right information. But B, it's about execution of the right information that's most relevant to your well-defined goals. Okay, so wanting to learn more when you haven't mastered the current information is a huge reason most stay broke and stressed out. So this breakthrough for me was I was in direct sales and I wanted to learn how to recruit personal recruits and how to recruit people and get referrals from them. And we had an office building, so it's not a typical direct sales. We had a 2,000 square foot office building. I had 11 or 12 receptionists. I had a sales team of 100 plus people. I had a campus relations manager. I was working with a lot of the local colleges up in the Seattle area. And I realized that if I can really get a handle on personal recruiting and marketing, it would really help my business. So I went on a mission for 6 months to only study recruiting and marketing and branding. That's it. So every book, every piece of content I got my hands on was strictly focused on that. I mastered the scripts, I mastered the follow-up, I mastered the positioning, and literally 8 months to 12 months later, we were one of the top offices in the entire company with personal recruits. I think we were number 2 in the nation, and I had a smaller area compared to most everyone else. We did almost $1 million just in referral business. And that's me working the same hours, just me being more intelligent with our marketing and time. And I realized, wow, focusing on something and just dialing in on just that, whatever you focus on multiplies. I then started focusing on culture. I then started focusing on leadership. I then started focusing on leveraging technology, building the right team, delegating. And this is all in a span of a couple years. And this is how I went. In my book, I talk about we did 140,000 my first summer in 3 months, 3.5 months, 3 to 4 months, and I was working 80 hours a week, and I didn't make money. Fast forward 2 or 3 summers, we did over $800,000, and I only worked 20 hours a week, and I was happier, more fulfilled. I was excited. We had a better culture. So I quadrupled my business and didn't work any more hours. It was because those last 2 or 3 years, I was focused on mastery. So that's the importance. So what you have to do is define exactly where you want to go. Get rid of all the noise in your head. Get rid of everything that's not serving you. Every thought, every philosophy that's not serving you, get rid of. And I'm going to give you a mastery versus overload checklist that wasn't even in the book that I've came up with after that. But here's some of the things that I talk about that I dive deep into. I'm not going to dive deep here. But first thing is start small. Self-improvement can be overwhelming and realize you can't take on everything. If you do, you're not going to accomplish everything, right? Here's the deal. Choose 1 or 2 skills to focus on that's most relevant to your end result and break that skill down to manageable goals. And throughout the book and throughout the next chapters I talk about, I give you action steps on what to take. So the first key is define your goals and priorities. Make sure they're based on your values so you have clarity when you're operating, and then go to the next skill. Next is reflect along the way. So to move from experimentation to mastery, it's really funny. I actually don't do well reading scripts or reading. I'm way better off the cuff and coming from the gut, coming from the heart. So it sounds funny when I read because most of my stuff I don't read. So reflect along the way, and I give some tips. Challenge yourself to teach it to others, and be patient because we approach a new skill with the attitude that you should nail it right out the gate. The reality is that it takes much longer. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to be patient, and sometimes it takes 6 months to a year to 5 years to develop a new skill, and it always takes longer for others to see and appreciate it. That's the funny part. People around you will only notice 10% of every 100% change you make. So from this moment forward, I want you to be more intentional with what you read and don't move on until you've executed what you've already learned. So from here on out, once you define what skill is most important, remember, skills are weapons in this new economy. Once you understand your vision and your values and your goals, think about what one skill you want to master. And then that's all you study. That's all you read until you've seen some measurable progress and results with that. So let me go over the mastery versus overload checklist that I have gone through. And this has made the world a difference. By the way, let me give you the importance of this. This helps you weed out all the stuff that doesn't matter and save a lot of time. So here's an example. I've read the least I've read in the last 10 years this past 12 months. I've attended 1 seminar, I've listened to 1 podcast, I've had 1 mentor, and I've invested in 1 program and that I knew was congruent to my values and visions. Not because I don't enjoy learning and studying. I've learned more than I've learned in a long time because it's a different kind of learning. So what's the difference? Well, I know myself more than ever before. I have tripled down on my strengths, And I have focused on mastery versus overload. I've been asked a lot about who I study and what I'm studying, and really I don't look up to a lot of people. It's been more difficult than ever trying to find people that are world class in every area, but at this point in my life, that's who I want to study. But the point is, I've studied less and got better results and more peace of mind because I've focused on mastery. So here's the mastery checklist. 1, here's the questions you ask when you're taking on something else that you want to study or read. Is this information congruent to my 6-month vision? 2, is this information proven and taught by somebody that has the results I want, that has similar values that I do? Here's the game changer. Have I taken action and seen results on the previous information I've learned? You see a lot of millennials, people that I've studied and people that I've coached and people that are in my academy, they're so focused on personal growth, they forget the power of executing that personal growth, and they trick themselves into thinking, I need to read more, I need to learn more, instead of executing what they've already learned, because execution's the harder part. People always want to subconsciously take the easy way out. Learning's easy. If anyone can do it, it's not very valuable. And to be honest, anyone can read my book. So if you read my book, it's not that valuable. It's not a big deal. There's probably a lot of people that read my book that are still broke. But there's also a lot of people, we have folders and folders of video and email testimonials of people saying, I actually had the best 6 months of my life. I actually made an extra $1 million. I made an extra 6 figures. I made my first 6 figures because they executed the right information. There might be people that have read 2 chapters of my book and executed the 2 chapters that are most relevant to them, and they saw results more than someone that executed everything. When people go to events, I say, hey, the biggest tip, they always ask me, what should I do at this event? Give value without expecting to everyone you meet. Network and build relationships genuinely and give value without expecting. 1. 2, take the least amount of notes out of everybody. They're like, well, huh? Because most people are so proud. I got 50 pages of notes. That's not admirable. What's admirable is, hey, I have 1 page. I have 4 actions. I have 1 action from each speaker. I crossed out 2 that I didn't think were relevant for me now, and I have 4 actions that I'm going to take in the next month. Perfect. Now that's execution. Now that's mastery. Okay? 3, have I taken action on the previous information? Make sure you've answered that. 4 is, am I certain this is the best information and training on this subject? I don't think personally, and this is my opinion, everything's my opinion, but I don't talk about things unless I've gotten results and really experienced them. But I don't think there's a book in the world that's better at helping someone go from broke to having their best 6 months they've ever had than this. Period. I don't think that. Tim Ferriss has promoted this book. There's been a lot of legends that have promoted this book because of the tactics. That's why I wanted to bring you this series. Okay, so now when you answer those questions, if the answer is yes, then you study and read that, or you listen to that podcast. If the answer is no, you don't do anything till you've executed the previous information you've learned. So here's my challenge to you. Get addicted to outcomes and results from here on out, not information and knowledge. Outcomes and results, not information and knowledge. This is one thing we teach in my academy. Every single module, every single guest speaker, every single live call, live workshop, we teach mastery versus overload and make sure that people get addicted to outcomes and results, not information and knowledge. Huge, huge advantage. So that's it. This is a chapter that I think kind of prefaces the whole book. And one thing that I've done, like I told you in the last video, if you haven't watched part 1 where I talk about the hidden opportunity, you definitely want to go back and watch that or listen to that. But the biggest thing is making sure you write down, okay, what's the 1 or 2 actions you need to take? And then ignore everything else, and then put in your schedule 30 days from now to go back for 30 minutes and make sure, A, you've executed on those, B, what's the next 2 actions you're going to take? Okay, that's a huge, huge advantage over everybody else that studies a lot more than you, but you're executing while they're studying. So you should be learning. I'm still learning all the time, but I'm learning about myself. Oh, what I was going to tell you, that's what it was. I couldn't think of what I was going to tell you, so I was kind of stalling in my head. It's funny. I've had personal growth gurus, people that you guys know that I've interviewed, people that are pretty big, say, Peter, do you know that when you teach the mastery versus overload, you're killing your sales and you're killing maybe other people's sales. People aren't going to buy as much. And that's, of course, when I knew the industry was definitely not as genuine as me and kind of fake, which at first I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know if I should stop saying this. But then when I started maturing up and realizing it's more about being intentional, being genuine, having good intentions, I didn't care anymore, because it's kind of sad how people focus more on the sales and money than the actual relationship and actually adding value. But I don't want you to buy as much stuff. I want you to buy what is most relevant to you and make sure that you don't buy anything else till you've gotten results from the other thing. We've had a lot of people apply to our academy. They're like, yeah, I've tried this course and this mastermind and this course and this seminar. This was a pitch fest. This was too much mindset stuff. This isn't tactical. And I hear it all the time. That's why it's important to get addicted to outcomes and results, not information and knowledge. I'd love to get your feedback. Post below anything that stood out to you or anything you use to help you not get overwhelmed, to help you execute on your vision, to help you focus on mastery versus overload. And I want to thank you again for tuning in. Whether you're watching or listening, I appreciate you. Until next time, have an amazing, amazing rest of your day and week. And we'll see you on the next episode, and continue to think and act like a real game changer. Talk to you guys soon.